But I think the story of the day is the former MVP, who athletically is in his prime. Lamar Jackson has, by Twitter's account, decided to bet on himself. Right? I'm going to bet on myself, which is great. Right? Everybody says, bet on yourself. But there's a lot more to it than just Lamar Jackson is betting on himself. Most people believe, and there is a lot of historical, empirical data which would support it, which is the longer you wait, the more money that you make. Right? In the NFL, every contract, boom, 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 Justin Herbert's going to get a deal in the offseason. You name, now there's a date where he can start negotiating, and Lamar will probably have a deal by then, but Justin Herbert's going to get a gigantic deal. Joe Burrow is going to get a gigantic deal. I don't know about Tua Tagovailoa, but Joe Burrow is going to get a gigantic deal this upcoming offseason. And those are deals that will likely set the market. The problem with the market is there's this one outlier contract, and that's Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's $250 million, which is completely guaranteed, is by the accounts of all the people I've talked to in the NFL, it's hilarious and sad all at once that the Browns, in their desperation to get a marquee quarterback, decided to throw more than the kitchen sink at Deshaun Watson, and it did not reset the market for Kyler Murray. It didn't reset the market for Derek Carr. It didn't reset the market for Aaron Rodgers. It didn't reset the market for, you kind of go through it. But Lamar Jackson's sitting there going, hey, man, he's a good player, but I've been an MVP. I haven't had the off-the-field stuff. I haven't had a torn ACL the way he has. Team's built around me. I'm the leader. I deserve to be paid commensurate with Deshaun Watson's contract. And in a normal circumstance, maybe. On paper, yeah, I could agree with that. But the reality is no chance. No chance. I think the biggest question becomes, does Lamar Jackson play like Lamar Jackson, or does he play to protect himself? Right? Because when you're running the football more than any quarterback has run the football in modern football history, you are putting yourself in harm's way. You are consistently putting yourself in harm's way. And the likelihood of injury is great. And the other part to it is, and you'll get people to say, well, quarterbacks, Dak Prescott broke his ankle, Tom Brady tore his ACL, Carson Palmer tore his ACL, Joe Burrow tore his ACL. All these guys came back, and they're fine. It's true. The difference is they don't use their legs nearly as much to be who they are. Matter of fact, it's in many cases, Dak not this case, but in Brady's case and Breeze, remember Breeze got his shoulder when he kind of got rolled up on his last game with the Chargers. These guys, they don't need their legs to be who they are. Lamar Jackson is a running back who's the best throwing running back or best throwing quarterback we've ever seen. Right? If Mike Vick had an offense built around him, and I don't know, Mike Vick threw a great deep ball, I would say that's the comp. But again, based upon the proficiency, the numbers in the red zone, even the running numbers, Lamar Jackson's a better version of Mike Vick. If Mike Vick had no off-the-field issues and was a little bit better thrower, he'd be Lamar Jackson. I think that's a fair parallel, right? I mean, he's a dynamic football player. But 5 years guaranteed on top of this year, that's 6 years. He ain't going to get hurt. And while other guys come back and they're fine from being hurt, what does a great athlete look like if he's coming back from being hurt? Because as you get older, you slow down, they don't. If you get hurt, you slow down, they don't. And every hit kind of magnifies itself. I actually think it's a smart play on the Ravens. They did to Lamar Jackson what the Cardinals did to Albert Pujols. They offered him way more money than anyone probably would have thought they would have, but just enough where it wasn't too much that he had to take it. And so now they kick it down the road, and let's see, he wasn't great last year. They weren't healthy, but he wasn't great. By anyone's estimation, he did not have a great and maybe not even a very good football season. I got you. You went through 7 running backs. Ronnie Stanley not healthy. It was not a great year. And his backup was as efficient as he was. Maybe not the player he was, but at a fraction of the price. So everyone talks about betting on themselves. Here's the other element that people aren't being completely candid with is this need to be your own representation. That to me is a disaster. Lamar Jackson would not be taken 32 overall in the first round of the draft if he was represented by an agent. Because and the stories are out there, and the ones I've been told, a lot of people wanted to work him out. Had to go through his mom, couldn't get through to him, couldn't get through at times to her, and there were some teams that were like, yeah, I don't know. Okay. And he didn't want to work out for him. And while some of those teams might not have drafted him, I mean, if you've seen Lamar Jackson throw the football, and remember the last game he played in college was against Mississippi State. It was awful. It was not good. Not good. So you would seen him in person and be like, man, I love this guy. Or maybe we love him. He's not for us, but somebody else does. He went 32nd in the draft. A good portion of that, at least a portion of it is, he didn't have a rep. And the reason I believe this deal didn't get done, he didn't have a rep. Because you could have gotten close to those numbers with some creative financing, ways to keep it off the cap, the way to do it, but it takes time, and it takes people that have put those deals together before. He doesn't have that. So while he's betting on himself and saving money by repping himself, and ultimately it may pay off, he may get the biggest contract in the history of the solar system. He may. The process in the draft, the process now, flawed. Because here's what you have to factor in. Even if you get a little bit more than what was offered at the end of this season, if you sign the contract now, if you got the deal done, your first 3 years would have been in escrow and paid essentially up front first 90 days, and that money would have been put to work for you. Instead, you're going to have to wait at least 9 months for it. At least 9 months. And it's a lot like hitting the lottery, right? Where when you hit the lottery, you can get paid out over 25 years or you can get the money now. Every business financial advisor take the money now. Take the money now. So Lamar Jackson's betting on himself. Remember, when you bet on yourself, it's betting, it's gambling. It's not a 100% shot. You know, Dennis Schroeder bet on himself. How'd that work out? He turned out, was it $90 million from the Lakers? Now, Joe Flacco, who the Ravens are going to go against, he bet on himself, won a Super Bowl, got a huge contract. The Ravens forever regret it. So there's baggage, like the Joe Flacco baggage that comes to mind. There's the fear of injury. You look at Cam Newton and how he broke down. And if you're Lamar Jackson, you're sitting there going like, man, all I got to do is wait. The longer I wait, I pull a Dak Prescott, I get whatever I want.